The Library of the Dead. In 1838, in an ancient library, if you listen closely, the books whisper secrets of the dead. But if you hear your name, you become part of the library forever. Ella's first glimpse of the library was through a veil of mist that clung to the aged stone walls like a shroud. The building loomed, an imposing relic of the past, its Gothic spires piercing the gray sky. She stepped through the iron-wrought gates, their creak a chorus of ancient welcomes and warnings, her heart aflutter with a blend of reverence and trepidation. The air was thick with the musk of old paper and wood as she pushed open the heavy oak door. The library's interior unfolded before her, a vast cavern of knowledge, where rows upon rows of shelves stretched into a seemingly infinite labyrinth. Dust motes danced in the slanted beams of light filtering through stained glass windows, casting vibrant patches on the floor. Ella's steps echoed in the hallowed space, a solitary sound in the silence. As she ventured deeper, her fingers trailed over leather-bound spines, each book a sentinel of stories and secrets long forgotten. The air was still, yet it felt as if the very walls were breathing, pulsating with the life of centuries. It was here, amidst the quietude, that Ella first heard it, a faint, almost imperceptible whisper. It seemed to drift from the shadowed corners, a sibilant murmur that beckoned and beguiled. She paused, listening intently, but the sound was elusive, like the rustling of leaves or the rustle of silk. Each time she thought she had pinpointed its origin, it seemed to shift, a ghostly echo in the maze of books. The whispers were unintelligible, yet they resonated with an inexplicable familiarity, as if they were calling to something deep within her. Ella shook her head, attributing the whispers to the overwhelming awe of the place. Yet, as she continued her journey through the library, the whispers persisted, a constant undercurrent beneath the silence, hinting at mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Hey, quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe and like for more videos. The next morning, Ella returned to the library, drawn by an insatiable curiosity. The early light filtered through the high windows, casting the library in a new perspective. Today it seemed less daunting, more inviting, as if the building itself had accepted her presence. As she wandered amongst the shelves, her fingers caressed the spines of the books, their titles etched in gold and faded ink. It was then she noticed something peculiar, a soft whispering that grew louder as she approached a certain section. These were not the grand volumes that adorned the main hall, but older, more worn tomes, secluded in a forgotten corner of the library. Ella's heart raced as she reached out to a particularly ancient-looking book. The moment her fingers brushed its cover, the whispering intensified, as clear as if someone were speaking directly into her ear. She jerked her hand back in surprise, but the whispers ceased, returning to their former subtlety. Intrigued, Ella slowly opened the book. The pages were yellowed with age, the ink faded, but as she turned the pages, the whispers returned. They were not words but emotions, fear, longing, sorrow, joy, each page resonating with the sentiments of its long-gone readers. Ella felt a connection to these unknown souls, as if the book were a conduit to their lives. With each book she touched, the experience deepened. Some books sang with laughter, while others hummed with the quiet despair of heartache. Ella realized these were no ordinary books. They were keepers of human experience, echoes of the past that had seeped into the pages over centuries. Lost in the chorus of whispers, Ella didn't notice the time slipping away. The sun dipped below the horizon, and shadows crept along the library walls. As darkness enveloped the room, the whispers grew bolder, more insistent. They were no longer mere echoes, they were calling to her, pulling her deeper into the library's heart. With a sense of foreboding, Ella realized that the library was more than a repository of books. It was a sanctuary of souls, each book a vessel for the voices of those long past. And now, those voices had begun to speak to her. The library's air was dense with the scent of aging paper and the faint musk of forgotten tales when Ella encountered Mr. Thorne, the former librarian. He emerged from the shadows between the shelves like a specter, his eyes deep-set and knowing, reflecting a lifetime spent amidst these whispering tomes. Ella, is it? His voice was a raspy whisper, mirroring the library's secretive tone. You must tread carefully here. This place, it's not what it seems. They sat at a worn wooden table, the surface etched with the initials of librarians past. Thorne's hands, gnarled with age, trembled as he poured tea into delicate china cups, the liquid steam curling into the air like spirits being summoned. "This library," he began, his gaze fixed on the dancing flames of a nearby candle, "houses more than books. It's a repository of souls, of lives once lived. The whispers you hear are their voices, reaching out from beyond." Ella listened, entranced as Thorne recounted tales of librarians who had succumbed to the whispers. He spoke of their initial fascination, how it turned to obsession, and finally, their disappearances, leaving nothing behind but echoes in the dusty corridors. They sought knowledge, yes, but at a cost too great. The whispers. They lure you in, promising secrets, truths hidden in the folds of time. But they are a trap, binding you to these walls. Ella's heart raced, a mix of fear and intrigue. Thorne's words painted a picture of a library alive with more than just stories, a cryptic, almost sentient entity. "Promise me, Ella," Thorne's voice cracked with urgency. "Do not listen to the whispers. They are not meant for our ears. Heed my warning or risk being consumed by the very knowledge you seek." As he spoke, the candle flickered, casting elongated shadows that seemed to reach towards Ella, as if the library itself was listening, its whispers growing in intensity, an unseen audience to Thorne's ominous warning. Under the dim light of a solitary desk lamp, Ella's eyes danced across the brittle pages of history. The library at midnight was a realm of shadows and whispers, where every creak and sigh of the ancient building seemed to carry the weight of untold stories. She delved into the archives, her fingers delicately turning pages that crackled with age, revealing the library's enigmatic past. The records were a tapestry of intrigue and mystery. She read of librarians who had served before her, their names etched into history, their fates often left unrecorded. There were tales of a librarian who spoke in tongues no one understood, another who vanished without a trace, and one who was said to have gone mad, claiming the book's whispered secrets of the dead. As Ella pieced together the fragmented past, a pattern emerged, a chilling cycle of curiosity, obsession, and disappearance. The library was not just a repository of knowledge, but a guardian of secrets so profound they seemed to transcend time and mortality. She stumbled upon an old journal, its pages yellowed and fragile. The handwriting was a hurried scrawl, filled with frantic accounts of voices in the dark, of shadows moving in the periphery, of a growing fear that the library was alive. The writer spoke of a sealed section, hidden away, where the most ancient and powerful books resided, their whispers more potent than any others. Ella's heart raced as she connected the dots. The sealed section was the heart of the mystery, the source of the whispers that had beckoned her since her arrival. But with this revelation came a warning, a foreboding sense of danger that seeped through the journal's pages. The library was more than a sanctuary of the written word. It was a labyrinth where the line between the living and the dead blurred. The clock struck midnight, its chime echoing through the silent halls. Ella closed the journal, her resolve steeling. She had to uncover the truth of the sealed section to understand the library's whispered secrets. But in the back of her mind, a whisper of her own surfaced, a cautionary murmur that delving too deep might entangle her in the same fate that befell those before her. The night was a cloak of obscurity as Ella stood before the sealed section of the library, her heart drumming a rhythm of anticipation and fear. The heavy wooden door, aged and warped, was bound by iron chains and a padlock that whispered of secrets and prohibitions. The air was thick with the scent of decay, as if the very essence of time had settled here. With a trembling hand, Ella slid a stolen key into the padlock, the metal cold and unyielding. A turn, a click, and the chains fell away with a resonant clatter, breaking the silence like a thunderclap. Pushing the door open, she stepped into a realm forgotten by the world. The section was a cathedral of the arcane, where the shelves loomed like monoliths, burdened with tomes that seemed to breathe in the dim light. The books were swathed in shadows, their covers etched with runes and symbols of a bygone era. The air was denser here, charged with an electric hum that set Ella's skin to prickle. As she ventured deeper, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They swirled around her, a chorus of ancient voices, each vying for attention. But among them, she heard something different. A calling of her name, soft and seductive, drawing her further into the depths. Ella found herself before a pedestal, upon which rested a book unlike any other. Its cover was of black leather, so dark it seemed to absorb the light around it, and its pages, visible between barely open covers, were blank yet pulsating with a latent power. Mesmerized, Ella reached out to touch the book, her fingertips barely grazing the cover. At her touch, a shiver ran through the room, and for a moment, she thought she saw the shadows coil and twist as if alive. Suddenly she withdrew her hand, a sense of foreboding washing over her. This book was the heart of the sealed section, a tome of untold power and mystery. It beckoned to her, yet warned her away, a paradox that both enticed and terrified. As she stood there, the whispers crescendoed into an urgent plea, a siren song that promised answers but hinted at dangers untold. Ella knew then that this book held the key to the library's enigmatic past, and perhaps to her own fate. In the suffocating silence of the library, Ella had become a nocturnal wanderer, the moonlight her silent companion as she navigated the labyrinthine aisles. The whispers had grown more pronounced, resonating like a chorus of lost souls, each utterance a thread in a tapestry of unspoken tales. The dark had become her realm, where the whispered secrets of ages past unfurled like ink in water. Ella's days, once governed by the sun, now followed the rhythm of the shadows. By day, the library was a mausoleum of knowledge, stoic and impenetrable. But by night, it transformed into a living entity, its pulse thrumming in sync with her heartbeat. The books, her once inanimate companions, now seemed to breathe and sigh, their spines creasing and relaxing as if in slumber. The most profound change, however, was within Ella herself. Her eyes, once reflecting clarity and purpose, now held a depth of mystery, like dark pools stirred by unseen currents. She moved with a newfound grace, her steps guided by the whispers that had woven themselves into the very fabric of her being. In the cloak of darkness, Ella began to converse with the whispers. They told her of ancient wars, forgotten loves, and hidden truths. They spoke in tongues that were old when the world was young, their words a symphony of history's echo. She scribbled fervently in her journal, her hand guided by the unseen force of the voices, chronicling tales that were never meant for mortal ears. But as she delved deeper into the heart of the library, a sense of foreboding grew. The whispers became more urgent, their tones laced with desperation and sorrow. They began to call her name, their voices a siren song luring her towards an unknown fate. Ella knew she stood at the brink of an abyss, yet the lure of the unknown was irresistible. The library, once a sanctuary of solitude, had become a realm of shadows and whispers, with Ella, its devoted acolyte, eternally bound to its dark heart. In the heart of the sealed section, where the air was thick with the scent of ancient lether and forgotten tales, Ella discovered a book unlike any author. It sat alone on a pedestal, an enigmatic sentinel in the gloom. Unlike its counterparts, this book didn't whisper. It seemed to swallow sound itself, an abyss in the guise of a tome. The Book of Shadows, as Ella came to think of it, was bound in dark, almost liquid leather that seemed to absorb the faint light of her lantern. It was an anomaly, a void in the midst of whispers. As she reached out, a chill spread through her fingers, as if the book radiated a coldness from another world. Opening it with a blend of awe and apprehension, Ella found the pages empty, yet they seemed to pulsate with a latent energy. It was as if the book was waiting, hungry for stories, for life. The air around her grew colder, and the whispers of the library fell silent, as if in respect or fear of the tome's power. Ella soon realized that this book was the heart of the library's enigma. It didn't contain whispers. It was a prison for them. The souls of past librarians, she understood, were trapped within these black pages, their stories and identities absorbed by the Book of Shadows. They were the ones who had heard their names in the whispers and had been ensnared, their very essence now part of the book's shadowy depths. As she stood there, the gravity of her discovery weighing upon her, Ella felt a deep sense of sorrow for the lost librarians. She also felt a growing determination. She would not let this book claim her story. But more than that, she resolved to free the souls bound within its pages, to restore the voices that had been silenced. The Book of Shadows had revealed its secret, and now Ella held the key to unlocking the mystery of the library and breaking the cycle of whispers. In the heart of the labyrinthine library, under the watchful gaze of ancient tomes, Ella stood before the Book of Shadows. Its cover, blacker than the darkest night, seemed to absorb the very essence of light around it. As she reached out, a cold shiver ran down her spine, a premonition of impending peril. As her fingers brushed against the book's surface, a sudden surge of whispers erupted around her. Unlike the soft, seductive murmurs she had grown accustomed to, these were frantic, cacophonous, a symphony of trapped souls screaming for release. The air around her twisted, the library's walls warping into an unrecognizable maze of corridors and shelves. Ella realized, too late, that the book was not a vessel of liberation, but a cunning snare. The library itself seemed to turn against her, its once benign presence now menacing. Shadows lengthened, twisting into grotesque shapes, and the once whispering books now howled like tormented spirits. With every step she took, the library reconfigured itself, an ever-changing puzzle designed to disorient and entrap. The knowledge she had so ardently sought was now a labyrinth with no exit. Passageways ended abruptly in sheer walls, staircases led to nowhere, and doors opened into voids of endless darkness. In this chaos, Ella's resolve crystallized. She understood that the Book of Shadows fed on the desire for knowledge and the souls of those who sought it. The only way to break the cycle was to reject the lure of the forbidden secrets it held. Determined, Ella began to chant the ancient librarian's creed, a litany that resonated with the power of centuries of guardianship. As she spoke, the library's fury intensified, but so did her resolve. The walls trembled, and the shadows recoiled, as if her words were a beacon of light in the oppressive darkness. Ella continued her incantation, her voice steady amid the chaos, a lone sentinel standing against the tempest of the trapped and forgotten. The library writhed and convulsed around her, a beast in its death throes. But Ella stood unwavering, the key to its liberation within her grasp. In the heart of the transformed library, Ella stood, her pulse synchronizing with the rhythmic whispers that now sounded like urgent drumbeats. The once familiar halls had morphed into a labyrinth of shadows and deceiving echoes, each turn a potential snare. She clutched the ancient tome, its weight a tangible reminder of her perilous task. The whispers grew hostile, their tone sharp as shattered glass, cutting through the air with sinister intent. Ella moved cautiously, her every step a calculated risk. The walls seemed to breathe, constricting around her, while the books on the shelves watched like silent judges. As she navigated the treacherous maze, Ella's mind raced. She recalled every whisper she had ever heard, every secret the library had confided. She whispered back, her voice a beacon in the darkness, attempting to pacify the restless spirits bound within the walls. With each correct turn, the oppressive atmosphere lightened, the whispers softening from malicious snarls to confused murmurs. Ella's knowledge, once a source of fascination, now became her weapon and shield. She deciphered the riddles hidden in the whispers, each solution bringing her closer to the heart of the library. The Book of Shadows pulsed in her grasp, its dark energy a stark contrast to the spectral light that began to seep through the cracks of the library. Ella felt the souls within the book stir, their desire for freedom resonating with her own. In a final act of defiance, the library convulsed, the walls bending in impossible angles. But Ella, driven by a newfound resolve, chanted the ancient incantation she had learned from the whispers. The Book of Shadows shuddered, and a blinding light erupted, tearing through the labyrinth. As the light engulfed her, Ella felt the library yield, the oppressive walls dissolving into nothingness. She emerged from the chaos, the library restored to its original state, but forever altered by her courage and understanding. The whispers, now gentle and grateful, faded into silence, leaving Ella standing in the serene quietude of the once daunting library. As dawn's first light breached the horizon, it found Ella standing in the heart of the library, her eyes reflecting a newfound resolve. The Book of Shadows lay open before her, its pages pulsating with an ethereal glow. Around her, the whispers had swelled into a cacophony, a symphony of souls yearning for release. With a deep breath, Ella began to recite an incantation, her voice steady, yet imbued with emotion. The words were ancient, almost forgotten, but they flowed from her with an ease that belied their power. As she spoke, the air around her shimmered, and the library itself seemed to hold its breath. The book reacted violently, its pages fluttering as if caught in a tempest. Shadows writhed and twisted around Ella, trying to engulf her, but she stood firm, a beacon amidst the darkness. The energy in the room intensified, crackling with raw power as the imprisoned souls within the book began their ascent towards freedom. One by one, ethereal figures emerged, their forms translucent and flickering like candle flames in the wind. They circled Ella, a carousel of light and shadows, each whispering a word of gratitude before dissolving into the morning air. The library quivered, its very foundation groaning under the weight of this ancient release. As the last soul departed, the Book of Shadows closed with a definitive thud, its cover now blank, a slate wiped clean. The oppressive weight that had hung over the library lifted, replaced by a sense of serene tranquility. Ella, her role fulfilled, felt a profound peace envelop her. She knew then that her destiny was intertwined with the library. She was its guardian, the keeper of its secrets and its legacy. The library, once a prison, was now a sanctuary, a testament to the triumph of light over darkness. Ella's heart swelled with pride as she looked upon the hallowed halls, ready to welcome those who sought knowledge, comfort, and perhaps a whisper of the past. We have come to the end of our story. Subscribe and like the video so as not to miss the videos that we will upload in the future. Tell me, what do you think about this story in the comments? I'll see you in the next story.